Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Molnar here. How's everybody getting along? Well, we have what could potentially, we're grasping for straws here, we might have a system that's going to produce snowfall here in parts of the Appalachians later this week and into early next week. Here it is in the upper level 500 millibar flow. You can see this is by Sunday at 7 a.m. See this troughiness here? This is our little feature, our upper level low. And we're going to watch and see this traverse towards the northeast like this. Now, temperatures will be marginal in lower elevations for snow, but you in the higher elevations of the parts of the Appalachians could actually see some accumulating wet snowflakes here. And look at this feature as it heads right up North Carolina into Virginia here. We could be looking at the potential for some wet snow in some of these areas. And of course, little fanfare as it moves past the northeast there. Now watch this system here as it starts to chug out of the south here. This is Saturday at 10 a.m. You can see how by 7 p.m. Saturday, we start to see this wet snow here on the northern envelope here of this system. Take a look at this. Places here, parts of eastern Tennessee and parts of Virginia, even parts just south of Richmond here, and around Johnson City, Tennessee here. We're going to have to watch for some wet snowflakes and maybe some sleet pellets mixing in. And look at this. As this goes into, let's back that up to 4 a.m. on Sunday morning there, 4 a.m. Look at that. We might actually see some wet snow maybe down here into Atlanta. That's interesting. Up here towards Asheville, Johnson City, Roanoke, Harrisonburg. Definitely watch the higher elevations, though. Atlanta, I'm not really expecting an accumulation for you. But you know what? This is a really interesting storm, and I think it has the potential to maybe produce some accumulating snows here in parts of the Appalachians. Look at this. This is a pretty interesting system. It is taking on that classic comma shaped here, but don't be fooled by it. This is not a nor'easter. This isn't going to bomb into a mega cyclone here. But it is interesting that we have some frozen precipitation this far south, 10 a.m. Sunday morning. Look at this. Yeah, we've got some precipitation here on the backside. This lingers into 4 p.m. Look at this, even getting down into Roanoke as some of the colder air filters in. And you get some of that adiabatic cooling. It is going to bring down some of that cooler air. So definitely want to keep an eye on this. Let's get into it. All right, so as we take a look at the snowfall here on the European model, there it is. The Euro is going all out here. Let's just back that up a little bit. Just takes us through Monday. That's all we really need. Look at that. That's crazy. So these higher elevations of the southern and central Appalachians, the southern Appalachians in particular, yeah, you could be getting over 6 inches of snow. Let's see if we can zoom in on this even closer. All right, here we go. This gets us as close as we can get. Look at this. Asheville, North Carolina, Johnson City, Tennessee. Wow, this could be quite a system for you. So, you know, it could be more than, if the Euro verifies here, this could be more than just a wet, slushy snow event, especially if this really gets cranking late Saturday night, early Sunday here into Sunday afternoon. It could get a little interesting here come the middle, the latter part of Saturday into early Sunday. This is something we definitely have to keep an eye on. All right, so I wanted to show you zoomed in here on the European model first, going into early Sunday morning, late Saturday night, early Sunday morning. You can see the mixed precipitation here. Here's our area of high pressure, helping to dam some of this cold air here up into parts of the Appalachians. As we go throughout the night into early Sunday morning, sunrise, there we go. Look at this. Yeah, watch this area right here. This is where we're going to start to see this ramp up. As we go throughout the day on Sunday, see those heavy, darker blues? Those are the areas I think you're going to get more than 6 inches. It's going to be interesting. I can't really show you on the mesoscale models yet. They haven't really gotten to the point where it encompasses the whole storm, but it's not till early Sunday morning, or Monday morning for that matter, that this system starts to pull away to the northeast, and it does very little fanfare up here in the northeast. Now, if we take a look at the latest GFS, I know all of you are just groaning, it's the GFS, I know, but the GFS wants to spread the wealth a little bit more here. It's showing a little bit less here in the southern Appalachians, although that's still appreciable amount of snow. That's still more snow than you've seen in New York City and southward of the big cities of the Northeast. Look at this. So, yeah, some of you here into eastern Tennessee, western North Carolina, extreme western part of Virginia, extreme eastern Kentucky, south and eastern part of West Virginia. Yeah, this is something we definitely need to keep an eye on. These upper level lows, though, are very difficult to predict. So it's all going to depend on timing, amount of cold air in place, adiabatic cooling, how much heavy the precipitation gets, because if it can really get cranking, we can get these snowfall totals really bumping up here. All right, so the Canadian won't do localized, but let's take a look. Yeah, Canadian has backed off a bit. We're a little more conservative here. Anywhere from 1 to 3 inches, and then you see just basically the spine of the Appalachians. You see some of these colors up towards 6, 8 inches. So I'm still going with the fact that this is probably going to be an elevation event, particularly above that 2,000 feet line. All right, so as we take a look at temperatures here, we'll take a look at a rough sketch here on the European model. There it is, blasting warm air into the northeast, and look at pretty warm here across the south. So we're starting off the weekend pretty warm here. There's the cold air coming in for Saturday morning. So you start to see a little bit of a warm-up throughout the day Saturday, and look at this. This is what, why I think the European might be a little overdone here. Look at these temperatures. The ground temperatures are going to be pretty warm going into this. Look at Saturday, we're getting into the 50s. And the mid-upper 40s across much of the Appalachians. But the key is, just how cold we get here. Look at that. There's the coldest we're going to get. We're teetering right on 32. And I think some of the suburbs just north of Atlanta, northeast of Atlanta, could get down as low as 32 too. So we got a wedge of colder air here, and we got to keep an eye on that, because look at as we look throughout the day here, it kind of stays put. Look at that. We got 32 degrees all the way into northeast Georgia. So the European might be onto something here. We definitely got to keep a trend. And look at this. It actually looks like it's manufacturing its own cold air. That's exactly what the European is kind of hinting at here. And look at this. We only stay in the upper 30s in even Atlanta here. So, the European might not be too far-fetched here. We're going to have to wait to see how this plays out. But I actually think, the European model, yeah, maybe a foot, it may be overdoing it in some of these areas. But if you're above 2,000 or 3,000 feet, I could see a foot happening. If you're in the towns, around these Appalachians and the valleys and stuff, I could easily see you getting 4, to 8 inches in this area. So yeah, this holds tough throughout Sunday here. Look at this. This is late Sunday evening. So it's all about temperature profiles here. And look at that, all the way into northeast Georgia. It does look really interesting. All right, so let's take a look at the rest of the 500 millibar flow as we go further out here. We're going to go out beyond our weekend storm. So there's our weekend storm. You see it cruising through the Carolinas there. That pulls out to sea. Very little fanfare for the Northeast. There's our next system for Wednesday the 15th. That pulls up here. You can see the pattern here, that trough out west and that ridge in the east. That keeps these systems moving in a pinwheel pattern just like this. And look at this. As we continue in time, this is Thursday the 16th. Yeah, we're going to see a big, massive surge of warm air come the end of next week towards St. Patrick's Day here. Yeah, we might actually see thunderstorms all the way up into New York State. Crazy to even think about that. And they might tap into some damaging winds, so we might have some severe weather that far north. That brings blasting air into the back end here of that system, but you know what? It's not going to be tremendously cold. And look at that. That takes us out to Sunday, the 19th. It looks actually like a pretty zonal flow here. All right, so taking a look at the latest Euro surface map showing that low blasting off to the northeast Friday to Saturday. Now, there is our system here across the southeast. There's that first area of disturbance behind it, helping to push this low further south into Florida. Got this big old high to the north, helping to slowly potentially dam some cold air up here into the eastern part of the Appalachians. Now, let's see how effective this could be. It does look pretty effective here on the European model, although that high pressure does retreat to the east off the east coast here. But there it is. We start to see those fuchsia colors, those blue colors, and the high pressure does try to build back west here, as you can see early Sunday morning. So this could turn out to be, you might end up with more snow this season across the Southern Appalachians, northeast Georgia, western Tennessee, western North Carolina, parts of the Central Appalachians than you do up here in the Northeast Quarter. How ironic would that be? But look at that. Yeah, European model really keeping that really hanging tough here across the the Southern Appalachians here as we go throughout the day Sunday. And this low is a slow mover here. So, we're kind of stuck in the thick of it until it finally starts to pull away Monday morning. And by then, look at that. It's just it does look pretty strong here, 986 millibars, so it'll really start to strengthen once it gets off the coast. But there's just not going to be anything up here in the parts of the Northeast. And as we continue to go into next week, there is that system going up midweek up into the Northeast for Thursday, and then the bigger system behind it. This is the one we got to watch. That's the one that could bring some big snow, maybe some blizzard-like conditions to the Chicago area. And this one's got my eye a bit because look at this, 977 millibar. Look at the line of convection along this. We could see some severe thunderstorms all the way up here into the Northeast. That is pretty remarkable, and a pretty sizable blizzard back here into parts of Michigan. So we'll have to see how this plays out. It is interesting. The European model's really showing this ramping up. Look how blasting that is, and that's going to be a lot of wind as well. All right, so as we get up into the Northeast, what is going on here? Yeah, most of the weekend, it's basically, that system, that first system up here Thursday into Friday, upwards of 6 inches, and then the Adirondacks a couple inches. But, as we go through next week, you got to go to, there's St. Patrick's Day, and then you get into the weekend. We start to get some lake effect kicking in here behind that big warm system that could contain some thunderstorms. All right, so as we go into the national map here, take a look at this. So, going through next Tuesday, it's not until, look at there, next Wednesday, Thursday, into next weekend. Look at that. We get this massive system. There's going to be a lot of snow here on the back edge of this. This could target Chicago area, down towards central Missouri and eastern Kansas here. This could be quite a big system. And look at the mountain snow. You're continuing to get hammered out west here. Back east here, this is definitely just, I know, a lot of you are pretty depressed about this. You just haven't gotten any snow in this corridor, so to speak. But this is what we have to look forward to next week, and it's definitely going to look like more rain in the east, and we could see some thunderstorms towards St. Patrick's Day. So as we get into total liquid equivalent precipitation, this takes us through Saturday and here Sunday. So this, even though this is kind of a weaker system, it does have a lot of moisture to work with. And that's why I don't want to discount this, especially here in the southern and central Appalachians. Out west, we get a little bit of a break here. And look at, as we go into next week, that's where we're going to see this big swath of precipitation here. So definitely going to keep an eye on this. So taking a look at the mesoscale model here, we'll start with the NAM 3 kilometer here. Why not? It goes out, into 60 hours or so. So yeah, you're in the Northeast, northern Maine, you're getting clipped with snow, some sleet pellets mixing in. But as we head towards the overnight Thursday into Friday here, you got a big conglomeration of wind and some snow showers kicking in behind it into western New York, western Pennsylvania here. So wind gusts, high wind warnings and advisories are in effect. This whole area pretty much down and through here. This is all wind territory. But you know what? As we continue in time, let's take a look and see what is going on. We have some thunderstorms here along the Gulf Coast. Look at this here up in the Northeast. We get some lake enhancement snow here Friday, 5 p.m. It's not going to accumulate tremendous accumulations, but it'll be definitely nuisance snow. Maybe those snowbelt areas picking up a couple inches. But here is our next system. Look at that, Northeast Texas. The Piney Woods area could be picking up some snow as this low pressure, this upper level low, dives to the south. This is that same upper level low I was telling you about at the beginning of the segment. And look at this. Here it energizes it a little bit, and on the NAM 3, we can go out to 60 hours here. Look what's going on. The NAM's actually bringing some cold enough air to get some wet snowflakes here into northeastern Alabama, just north of Atlanta, and all the way up here into parts of the southern and central Appalachians. All right, so taking a look at 500 millibar height anomalies here on the European model. We'll take it out here, and we'll kick it through the weekend. There is that weekend system. So this is the big wild card here. What happens with this? So it's going to remain pretty open wave, so to speak. You can see it's really not caught up in much of the flow, and it kind of makes a tepid exit here. See that? Look what's happening out west, though, by Tuesday the 14th, Valentine's Day. You are getting crushed out here. Lots of mountain snow, valley torrential rain. This is really getting into, a massive ridge here in the east, and, that's just going to keep pumping up more of the same here as we go into Thursday. But look what kicks in just behind it here. We get a massive blast of a trough here. Unfortunately, it doesn't give way to any coastal system that I can see of here. It does bring some wraparound lake enhanced snow for the lakes, but look how quickly, essentially, we ridge this back in across the east. That's a little interesting feature up here towards Greenland, but I don't think that big blocking ridge is going to stay there for too long. All right, so for my Caribbean viewers down here, Central America, Latin America, Gulf of Mexico, hey everybody, how's it going? You are looking quiet, continuing, enjoy it because hurricane season will be here before you know it. All right, and hello to all my Western Pacific viewers from Japan, China, Vietnam, all the way over to the Philippines here. How is it going? Look at this. Yeah, it's looking actually pretty decent here. I know some of you in the Philippines were tired of the rain a couple weeks ago, the monsoon type rain, but look at this. We can go all the way through Sunday the 12th. Before we finally start getting into some rain here, Central and Southern Philippines, yeah, you're kind of under the gun here for some showers and thunderstorms, and it actually gets really heavy here towards Monday, February 13th, and February 14th, just in time for Valentine's Day. Look at that, heavy rain across the Central Philippines here. Yeah, you're not looking very good here, looking really nasty, and that just continues until we get, there's the 16th, 17th, we get a tropical wave that has been pretty persistent on latest model trends of riding up here into Central Philippines. So, you know, the Central Philippines and parts of the Southern Philippines would not be surprised if you get over between 100 and 150 millimeters of rain over the next week. It's looking pretty nasty. You know, you get next week. This week, pretty nice. But you start next weekend, and then towards the 18th here, the 19th, we're actually going to get the northern Philippines into this. Of course, by the time it reaches the northern Philippines, it's not going to be much tropical in nature because you're starting to get towards the continental air mass this time of year with the winter time. So it starts to wash out a bit, get caught up in the westerlies. And look at that, we clear it out nicely for the third week of February for the most part here into the Philippines. And look at that, for that matter, it's looking pretty nice. All right, so as we go further out here on the temperature scale, I'll show you Monday here, getting up into the 40s across much of the east 50s into the big cities. And look at this. There's Tuesday morning's lows. Not much lows there to continue, but look at that. Our 40-degree line is pretty much all the way up into here. That's crazy for this time of year. And it's only going to get warmer as we head throughout the week. Look at as we head towards Thursday. Look at the surge. In fact, if you look from Thursday, this is Thursday afternoon. Look at this big old chunk of 60s and even some 70s in here. That's crazy. Even the areas that you probably will see snow this weekend will be blasting warm like a furnace, so that snow's not going to stick around for too long. Look at this. The lows Friday morning will actually be right, before 6 a.m. here in the Northeast for St. Patrick's Day. And that's probably where you'll see a line of thunderstorms push through, because look at, as you go throughout the day, you see a scenario next Friday the 17th where temperatures will be falling through the 40s and the 30s throughout the day. And look at that. You get a big blast of cold air behind it. So, yeah, we don't see like any situation where we see any low pressure system form in this. But look at this. Next Saturday afternoon, yeah, it warms up pretty quickly. Let's just back that up a frame or two. So, yeah, this is cold, but we've seen a lot colder this time of year. Extended outlook from hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton, Zipper, Susquehanna, River Valley. Look at this. Friday, we'll see maybe some scattered morning showers, but windy conditions, winds gusting up to 20 to 30 miles an hour. Temperatures will be holding in the low 40s all day into Saturday. Some sun and clouds up near 35, cooler, but look at this. By Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, big warming trend takes over. A lot of sunny skies. It'll be starting to feel a little bit more like spring-like early next week and as we get into late next week. Thanks for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather Northeastern and Weather Eastern. Don't forget Facebook MeteoMark, Weather Northeastern, also Hurricane Northeastern, at Susquehanna Weather for my local page. And guess what? MeteoMark.com, WeatherNortheastern.com is Twitter, at Weather Eastern. Don't forget, question or comment down below. Smash that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell button, share the video, and thanks for joining me.